Hi, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. First of all, let me say, in this letter, the person who wrote us this letter actually gave their names and did not mind their names being used and did not mind the name of the accused individual being used. So, just to clarify and just to make sure we are on the right side of the legalities of this, I am extending my platform to the accused so they can call in to our channel and tell their side of the story as well. I'm going to read this letter that a woman sent to me just to raise awareness so some people understand that these things are still happening and you too can easily be a victim. Her name is Jacqueline Thomas. Her brother's name is Earl Thomas. He even gave her brother's nickname, which is Short Man or Stumpy. It goes like this. Here we go. Dear SouFlo, I am writing to you because I have nowhere else to turn to. A friend of mine said she listens to you every single day and she thought that your show would be a good platform to expose my situation. I am not one of the people who will hide my identity because I want everybody to know about this. I also want my brother to pay for what he has done. SouFlo, I left Jamaica in the early 80s. I moved to Florida, USA, and when I came here, I was illegal in the USA. I actually traveled here on someone else's passport because back then we were able to remove the picture from a passport and insert our own picture. I did not return to Jamaica for a long time. Because I was illegal in the US, I had to do whatever I had to do in order to survive. It was rough here for me my first few years, but eventually I got on the ball. I met a man and he decided, after finding out about my immigration situation, that he would marry me and that we would start a family and he would get my papers straight. We got married about 8 years after I came to the US. It took some time after that to get my papers straight. So you can say I was away from Jamaica for quite a long period of time. I tell you all this to give you an understanding of the things I've been through in order to accomplish the things that I have. And to know that someone so close to me did this to me hurts to my heart. I really have nowhere else to turn. I have tried turning to the police in Jamaica, but that is not helping either. SouFlo, my brother stole my house. I have a beautiful house in Jamaica that has 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms on a nice piece of land, and my house is not my house. Let me explain. Over the years that I had lived in the US, I eventually managed to get myself straight. I found out though that I was unable to have children. My husband that married me and got me my papers, I think he got frustrated that I could not have children, so he had a child outside of our marriage, and I could not deal with my husband having a child outside of our marriage. This is somebody that I loved. He eventually moved on and left me. I never got married again. I worked on myself. I sent myself to school. I built a business in the US, which was not a big fancy business, but it was enough to get me all the nice things that I needed in life and help me to take care of my family in Jamaica. One of the people I took care of in Jamaica the most was my brother, Earl. Earl wanted for nothing over the years that I had been in the US. I bought Earl a car first and put the car on the road as a taxi. From that, I bought Earl a bus. We used to call these bus, well, the bus looks like a minivan. I made sure that Earl was always all right. Earl, however, was always ungrateful. The more I gave is the more Earl always wanted. He always had this idea that I was in the US making a lot of money and living in the land of milk and honey. He asked me to file for him, but I refused. I refused because I actually did not think that I could, and really, life had become so busy for me that I had not looked into it. Fast forward, over the years, I invested in whatever business Earl wanted to do to make sure that Earl was okay. And then I put Earl in charge of my own business in Jamaica, thinking I could trust him because he is my brother. Earl bought my house. I went to Jamaica and I did some paperwork for my house. When I purchased the house was half done. It was a beautiful half done house on a nice piece of land. I saw the vision, what this house could be, and I told Earl I wanted that house to be my retirement home for when I returned to Jamaica. I, like many other Jamaicans, SouFLo, who left Jamaica, always had a dream of returning home in my retirement age to live out the rest of my days in a beautiful home that I had built from scratch with the money that I had worked hard for overseas. I thought my dream was coming true. The paperwork that I did the paperwork that I signed to acquire the house turns out to be fake. Earl took my money and did proper paperwork for himself for my house with my money. The realtor he took me to was fake. The paperwork I signed was fake. I have no paperwork connecting me to my house. We purchased this house, or should I say I thought I purchased this house in 2017. My goal was to move back to Jamaica in 2022. Let's fast forward now to 2022. I knew something was off because every time I talked about coming to Jamaica, my brother would suddenly have things to do, be too busy, or could not be found. But he was always in contact with me because he was always needing things, and I was always making sure that he got whatever he needed. I decided to take a trip to Jamaica in January of 2022. We had been in the pandemic for quite some time. I had gotten COVID and was sick for an extended period of time, and I decided that this was it. It was time for me to retire and go on to Jamaica and continue life from there. Something said to me, do not just pack up and go in one move. Go to Jamaica first and make sure everything is in place. Ever since the purchase of the house, I have been sending my brother lots of money. I won't even say the amount, but it was enough to purchase everything that was needed for my house. My house was supposed to have a washer, a dryer, a double-door refrigerator, all the furnitures that I pointed out to him and told him to purchase. My house was complete, and I saw it because I would speak to him on a regular basis from the house. He would FaceTime me on a regular basis from the house and walk me through the rooms of the house to show me the developments. When I got to Jamaica in January of 2022, my brother was supposed to pick me up from the airport. He did not show up. I thought that was weird because I spoke to him even before I boarded my flight from Miami International to Jamaica. I waited at the airport for a while, and then I got worried and I thought something must have happened to him. But he did not show. I had a morning flight and I was at the airport until evening waiting on him, calling and no reply. My only fault here, SouFLo, is that I had been away from Jamaica for too long and I did not feel completely familiar with the place and how things ran because so much had changed. Eventually, I chartered a taxi that took me from Norman Manley International Airport to the house in Clarendon. Quite a long drive for a taxi ride. However, I did. When I arrived at the house, I saw a young lady there who answered the door with a small child standing at her feet. I asked her, where was Earl? She said, Earl is out on the road. This young lady looked way younger than my brother's age, so I automatically assumed that he was probably renting a part of the house to this person and had not told me, probably was making money off of tenants from my house and had not told me. I was willing to look past that because I would have simply given notice and ample time for whoever it was to find somewhere else to live. I was not going to force anybody out into the streets. Lo and behold, this young lady turned out to be my brother's baby mother. My brother had moved his woman into my house, had a fresh new baby in my house, had taken up residency in my house, and now wanted to fight me over my house. I demanded all the paperwork for my house to show ownership because my plan was to have him evicted from my house. This is when I got the surprise of my life. I had no paperwork linking me to this house that my money had purchased. My brother cursed me. My brother called me all kinds of names. My brother even threatened to hurt me physically. I left the house the next morning because he had come home that night really late and seemed drunk. Mind you, this is the same day he was supposed to pick me up from the airport. He was out drinking and having fun. I stayed in one room the night and I locked the door. I started feeling very unsafe because I had heard many stories of people who had been killed over their houses, returning residents who had lost their lives over property in Jamaica at the hands of close relatives. I did not want to be a victim, so I locked myself in one room and I left first thing in the morning. I went to a hotel. From the hotel, I contacted my brother because it all seemed like a dream to me, and I was hoping to wake up from this bad dream. Honestly, SouFLo, I could not believe that this was happening to me. I heard these stories before from other people, but never did I ever think that this could happen to me. Calling my brother from the hotel only made things worse. In our final conversation, my brother assured me that if I did not leave Jamaica quick enough, he would make sure that I left Earth permanently. In other words, he was threatening my life. He was telling me that he would send somebody to come and page me, whatever page you means. I took it that someone was going to come see me and it would probably be a contract killer. This is the first time that my brother had shown me this side of himself. I mentioned earlier that he always wanted more, but I always gave. I never took it as anything because this is my brother. I left Jamaica the very next day. I spent one day in the hotel and I flew back to Miami. From here, I've been trying to figure out what to do and how to get my house. My house is a beautiful 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom house on a huge plot of land, and I can really see myself living there. However, I am not willing to die, especially to be murdered over material things. Where do I go from here, SouFLo? Who do I contact? What should I do? You can share this with your audience, as my friend told me that you probably would. But more than anything, I would like some good advice. The end. All right, my SouFLoTV audience, listen. So, for those of you who are educated in the legal aspect of things, I would hope that you can leave some constructive info in the comment section for Miss Jacqueline to read. Okay? I would give my own advice, and my own advice would be not to go back to Jamaica just yet, because we've seen this happen many times before. And although it is your blood brother, we've seen that happen many times before. We've seen husband get rid of wife. We've seen wife get rid of husband. We've seen sister get rid of sister. We've seen brother get rid of mother, or son get rid of mother, or try to get rid of mother. These are all stories that we've covered in the past, and they all had to do with property. Stolen property, people wanting things that did not belong to them, people fleecing returning residents out of their monies and then threatening to kill them when they found out that they were actually in Jamaica. See, a lot of people, sometimes they think that you're not going to come back to Jamaica. Or they think that by the time you come back to Jamaica, it will be like in your old age. Also, they have established a life in Jamaica where you have not. So they have more links than you there, right? And as you know, we have to pay attention to this. In Jamaica, life is cheap. There are people that are doing contract killings for little and no money at all, my friend. So you can't take anybody lightly on their threats when they're saying that they're going to send somebody to page you. Page you, by the way, means they're going to send somebody to come see you. Okay? For those of you who don't know. So don't risk it. Try to find a way to deal with it legally from outside of Jamaica. Now, the fact that you have no paperwork on this house that says that it's yours, you went through the process, you don't have the deed or the mortgage statement or whatever that says that this is yours and you paid for it and you own it, then that can be a huge issue, because now it will be just his word against yours. And I can tell you that in Jamaica, no one is going to go through the length of saying, well, the house is 60 million. Where is your earning statements that says that you earned this much money to be able to afford this house? They don't go that far in depth. Maybe in the US they would, but I wouldn't think that in Jamaica they would. Because that's how Jamaica is set up. People can get away with things. So a lot of people are probably going to tell you in the comment section, Miss Jacqueline, that you were wrong in the first place, right? Because you trust too much, and you trust the wrong person too much. Don't care if it's your brother. This is a learning lesson for everybody else. No matter who the family member is. I don't care if it's your child. I don't care if it's your spouse. I don't care how close you and the person is. I don't even care if it's your mother and your father. Make sure that you're doing your paperwork properly, and make sure that you're handling your monies properly, because anybody can steal from you. Anybody can want what you have. Anybody can set you up to get killed so they can have the things that you have worked hard for and accumulated. It's not fair, but that is how the world works. That is how people work. And you can't put anything past anybody, and I can't say that enough, right? With that said, Earl is a wicked boy, if this is indeed true. Again, I don't know. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but Earl, Our number here at SouFLoTV is 1-806-587-8953, and you can use WhatsApp and you can call us directly and give us your side of the story. Your sister say your thief our house, brethren. And I'm trying to figure out, how could you do that to somebody who has taken care of you over the years? You know, coming to the US illegally and then getting yourself straight, that alone is a process. Many people get damaged in that process. Many people go through the process even though it has a lot of hardship in it. Woman get raped, man get abused, people get homeless, have to sleep in them car, all kind of something. Then the people them that have to work under the table for half of what everybody else is getting paid, because everybody knows you're here illegally, so they use you. And to come up out of all that and then put themselves in a position to be able to help those who they left back home, who they still love and care for, and then you turn around and do that. It's not like you thief some money, like a little sum of money, and y'all can, you can pay it back. This is somebody's retirement home. And you, as a brother, thief it from your sister and then threaten to take her life. No good will come of it, my friend. And then you have your little young girl in her house, right? As she said, no good will come of this for you. Karma is more than a bitch. And one thing I know about karma is this. You might think karma takes forever, but when it hits you, you will know. Sometime it hit you, it hit your offsprings, which could be your child, it hit your woman, it hit everybody that is close in your circle. You know, say you do your sister wrong. Make it right before karma makes it right for her on you. That's all I'm gonna say. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. I'll catch y'all on the next video. I'm tired of do them video here. Warning, warning, warning. I hope people are listening. I'm out. Peace. May I show you off. Come here. Alright, my SouFLoTV audience, let's take a break for a second and let me promote Wifey's channel. A lot of people don't know I have a wife, and those who know I have a wife still don't know who my wife is, so they're asking, who is SouFLo's wife? Okay, I need you to go over to her channel and hit that subscribe button. She does hair, makeup, fashion, life vlogs, mommy vlogs, sponsored content, product reviews with codes that you can use to shop and get huge discounts and all that, and her channel is probably more for the ladies, but there's something there for everyone. She used to be called Shakira's Fair. She used to be called Brains in the Beat on YouTube, but she changed her name, and after she changed her name, I don't know what happened to her algorithms. Anyhow, here she is. Hit that subscribe button. When you go to her channel, tell her your man sent me over here and vibe to her content. All right.